Did you know this podcast is powered by Acast? Acast is the home of podcasting. For creators looking for freedom to grow their listeners and make money too. And creative brands looking for smart ways to advertise. Podcasters and advertisers in the know Acast. It's time you did too. Visit acast.com to find out more. Acast, for the stories.
Let's go to Jess Daniel now. Jess, are you there?
How's it going? I'm here.
Hi there, Jess from Jess's Underground Kitchen. Tell me about your first few weeks of lockdown. How are you?
I'm actually quite good. I don't know what day of the week it is. The only way I know it's Friday is because I'm talking to you.
Yeah, I know that feeling. Well, I know because my work's about to stop for a couple of days. But yes, I totally know what you're talking about. What's been keeping you busy?
I've actually been doing a lot of cooking in my home kitchen, and I haven't had a kitchen for the last probably 6 months at home. I've been waiting on stuff to arrive and all of the COVID shipping delays and renovation delays. So I feel
that must be
very
a
lucky.
nightmare. Yeah,
very lucky that we got in just before this lockdown hit. So I've been cooking up a storm.
And what's been the cuisine of your lockdown? Mine's been Indian. How about yours?
Oh, we haven't actually had Indian. We've been doing a lot of Mexican, though, I think because avocados are finally cheap.
Yeah, that was me last lockdown, Mexican. I don't know, it's funny how you just gravitate towards one particular cuisine and come back to it. Sounds good. Where's the business at?
So the business is busy. Obviously, we operate right through level 4, selling pre-made meals, and we ship them across the country. And we actually recently launched in the South Island in selected supermarkets. So good news for those of you who are down south. If you jump on our gourmeteveryday.co.nz website, you'll be able to see if we're in your local New World or Countdown.
What's your biggest seller, Jess?
Oh, God, that's a tough call. Surprisingly, our vegan chickpea curry is really up there. That's a crowd favourite, and it's delicious. Chickpeas and potatoes, lovely and spicy. And probably second best would be our balsamic roast beef, which comes with a delicious creamy potato gratin.
Great, not bad for a young woman who started off selling meals to her friends out of her house in, what was it, Freeman's Bay a few years ago?
Yes, yep.
You've got pork on the mind today, Jess.
I have, and do you know what? This is actually Mexican, so goes with what I've been cooking, and we've cooked this a few times over lockdown. And what I love about it is that it's a pretty simple recipe. You can tweak it however you want, and then you've got pork that you can use in sandwiches. You can serve it in tacos. You can do like a sort of Asian-inspired vermicelli salad with some nice fresh herbs and veggies, and we get 4 or 5 meals out of it.
Yeah, love that. You've got a 1.5 kilo pork shoulder roast. Is that bone-in?
I prefer bone-in. Like any kind of meat, when you cook it on the bone, you get more flavour. But, you know, it's what you can get hold of in a lockdown, isn't it?
Okay,
so bone in,
through
bone
this
out.
recipe. Yeah, cool.
So really simple. Basically, you get your pork shoulder roast, bone in, bone out, and it can really be as big as or as small as you want it to be, or what you can get from your butcher or supermarket. So rub the pork all over with salt and pepper. I quite like to leave the skin on. I like to cook it with the skin on to keep it nice and moist, and then often what I'll do is take that off at the end and put it under the broiler and get it really nice and crispy, crackly. And then we take 150 mils-ish of chipotle sauce. So you can either use a store-bought sauce. The little orange cans of La Morena are a really good buy. And if you don't have that on hand, or you want to use some pantry staples, add some Mexican-y spices to a couple of tablespoons of tomato paste. So you're probably looking at paprika, some ground cumin and ground coriander, as much chili as you like, and maybe some dried oregano in there as well.
Oh, great. Yeah, great tip.
You're sort of making this like, it's sort of like a loose marinade, but then as the pork cooks down really nice and slow, and you can do this in the oven or the slow cooker, you'll get all of the fat and the beautiful juice from the pork is going to cook into the sauce that you serve with the pork once you pull it. Really delicious. So I also throw in a few whole garlic cloves in there, 2 onions, which I just roughly quarter, and then here's the real star of the show. Take a couple of oranges, quarter them or halve them, and pop them in the bottom too, and they're going to cook down, and the juice from the orange plus the sort of like orangey zestiness from the skin is going to pair so beautifully with that chipotle sauce, and you get this smoky, a little bit sweet, but yeah, really great depth of flavour. So
that is awesome. And I'm counting there's only half a dozen ingredients in this whole recipe.
Exactly. And I was actually making it the other day, and I used a can of the store-bought chipotle sauce. I had an orange in the fridge, and that was basically all I needed. And we ate this beautiful pork for 4 or 5 days. Yeah,
amazing. Okay, so you're slow cooking it, and then we've got all the instructions on our website if people are interested. But what do you do once the pork's cooked?
So you shred it, and you can shred it as finely or as roughly as you like. I like to leave a bit of chunk in there. Like I mentioned before, if you do cook it with the skin on, you might find you want to crisp that up a bit under the grill. And then a key tip actually for reheating this, because you're probably not going to eat 1.5 kilos of pork in one meal. I like to cook it in a fry pan and let it get quite nice and crispy on the bottom, so you get that texture back in the pork when you're making tacos or whatever you're making. And then what you pair with it, the world's your oyster. Definitely avocado, though.
Yeah, and you gave us some examples before, but I love that idea of a slaw with, maybe in some soft buns.
Yeah,
Very
and you
good.
can even do them in cos lettuce cups as well if you're wanting a break from the carbs.
Awesome. Jess, I love it. I'm going to try it. Thank you so much.
No worries, Jesse.
That full recipe is on our website, rnz.co.nz/Jesse.
Acast recommends more podcasts, more episodes, more great shows. Keep listening to hear a new season we recommend.
Fish fans are birds of a certain feather. They're not quite deadheads, they're not exactly parrot heads, and they're a far cry from juggalos. Many bands have obsessed and dedicated followers, but only Fish has fish heads. Undermine is a podcast narrated by the band's lyricist, Tom Marshall. That's me. And on this season of Undermine, we shine a light on the Fish fan that lives down the block. You see them wearing clothes with donut-shaped patterns, and you hear them using strange words. They have their own slang, their own mythology, their own rituals, and their own rules. On this season of Undermine, we dive deeply into a devoted fan base that has spawned a countercultural revolution in your backyard. It's Undermine Season 2 this fall. Find us on Acast or wherever you get your podcasts. Presented by Osiris Media.
Acast recommends.